Krishna. So we'll read from this book, Light of Bhagavat. We've been reading this for past month. For this holy month of Kartik too, we'll continue. And it's a beautiful book. Bhagavat is also referring to Srimad Bhagavatam. Some of you are familiar with it. So the Light of Bhagavat is a chapter from 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the description of autumn season of Vrindavan. You probably heard this last few weeks. So, the land of Vrindavan, where Krishna took birth, is considered most sacred, and it's non-different from him. So it bestows all kinds of spiritual benedictions just by visiting, hearing, appreciating, glorifying. So in that mood, just reciting this chapter is actually glorification of Krishna too. Because though it talks about different things in the nature of Krishna. Different things in the world, like nature, beautiful rainfall, nice rainbow, nice colors, autumn colors. So all these are a reflection of Krishna's creation, right? Krishna says it's all his creation, his whole material creation too. And Vrindavan is a transcendental creation, or transcendental world, and everything is meant for Krishna's pleasure. So Bhagavatam speaks extensively. Shukadeva Goswami talks about beautiful understanding of this chapter so that we can see everything in connection with the Lord and also try to understand some of the meaningful things that we can apply in your life, in our life. So I'll read. There's descriptions, like each page has a description, and a beautiful picture. So you have like a total number of 48. And today we are going to read 25th description of this, which talks about Krishna entering into the land of Vrindavan, into the forest of Vrindavan. So I'll read that. We'll start some invocation prayers and then quickly get in there. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Om Jnanatirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Actually, I was wrong. 25. It's not entering after what happened, and he entered into the Vrindavan. The Lord reciprocated the feelings of the inhabitants of the forest of Vrindavan. When there was rainfall, the Lord took shelter at the feet of the trees or in the caves and enjoyed the taste of different fruits with his eternal associates, the cowherd boys. He played with them, sat with them, and ate fruits with them. Now here is a description, commentary. Becoming one with God does not always indicate that a living being merges into the existence of the Lord. To become one with God means to attain one's original spiritual quality. Unless one attains one's spiritual quality, one cannot enter into the kingdom of God. The members of the impersonalist school explained their idea of oneness by the example of mixing of river water with the sea water. But we should know that within the water of the sea, there are living beings who do not merge into the existence of water, but keep their separate identities and enjoy life within the water. They are one with the water in the sense that they have attained the quality of living within the water. Similarly, the spiritual world is not without its separate paraphernalia. A living being can keep his separate spiritual identity in the spiritual kingdom and enjoy life with the supreme spiritual being, the personality of Godhead. In Vrindavan, all the spiritual entities, the cowherd boys, the cow maids, the forest, the trees, the hills, the water, the fruits, the cows and all others enjoy life spiritually in association with Lord Sri Krishna. They are simultaneously one with and different from the Lord. But ultimately they are one in different varieties. So there is a lot there. Just stepping back in our discussion, So we hear this idea of becoming one, right? Have you heard before that? We want to become one. Just thinking about that. Why does that even come? Why does that thought even come? Any reflections? Anybody would like to add? Becoming one with whatever it is. I mean, we're all different. We like being different, right? Nobody likes being me, and I don't like being others. It's natural, we all like being different. But there's also some sense of, we're almost don't want to be too different, right? There's something we want to be, united in certain ways, right? Because make things too different means too much problem in this world, right? So, you don't have to think too hard. You just open news and see. That's the theme, right? You're different than me. What you do is different than me. You practice something which I don't agree with. And you don't agree with my idea. So what is the natural result of that? Conflict. So being different sometimes has its challenge. But at the same time, being one also means there's nothing to relate with the other person in a different way, right? So, in this world we always have this conflict. This is duality, There's a perception also how the world is, and there's a reality of the world too. So Srila Prabhupada gives in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam an example. There is a mirage, the desert, there's actual water, right? So some animals may run towards the mirage thinking like, I'm going to get some water to drink. And then find out that actually there's no water. It's just a reflection. It's an illusory representation. So the reality of this world also is sometimes very difficult to perceive for us, right? In our experience, sometimes it's different than what we have thought it to be, the perception of that reality. For example, we think, this is what is going to give me happiness. And when we actually do that, or try to come closer to that, what we thought would give us happiness, we realize that it is not what I was thinking, right? Is this experience relatable, right? And this is what we're kind of chasing, the mirage, right? Trying to find what is real. So, the sages of, Vedic tradition and also other tradition are trying to bridge this understanding between our reality of what we think the real thing, the thing is going to offer us, or situation, or the people, versus the actual reality what we experience. So typically, the thing which bridges that too is philosophy, right? You think why we philosophize, right? So philosophize like, I can't figure this out. Why is the things this way? But there must be something, reason. So reason, logic, so many things come up in life, we philosophize. Sometimes they said, don't philosophize too much. Just enjoy life. But deep in our hearts, we know, I'm not getting what I'm looking for, right? Otherwise, we will not be doing something different than what we're doing today, right? We're always changing, looking for something different because we have an expectation. And this becomes more apparent when we face the troubles of life. When suffering faces us, Srila Prabhupada says the real problem. So the real problem in this world is not having a new iPhone. Real problem is not having a new gadget. What are the real problems? And anybody who studied Bhagavad Gita should know. What are the real problems? Yeah, birth, death, old age, disease. Ultimately because they all give one thing common, suffering. And sometimes it's very difficult to understand suffering. I mean, it's especially if it comes through other people, right? And we immediately try to seek answers, situations which make that we can't understand because our idea of reality immediately shifts. What we perceived so far is something different from what actually turned out to be. So, the sages of the Vedic tradition, they refer to great literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita to help us understand how to get the reality together to what our perception is. Means, ultimately we're all seeking in one way or the other. We're searching, we may not admit it, but we're seeking internally to find joy, happiness, contentment, and ultimately find the truth, what we are here for. So we may initially be distracted with so many things, but that is the inherent nature to find the purpose. Because they say even in the world that when you don't have the purpose, then you're kind of confused. So when you join any company, what is the first thing they give you? They give you your identity, right? When I joined a company, they said, this is your badge. Right? This is what you will do. And this is what you have to do as your description, job description, right? So we are trying to seek that. And internally, and sometimes we admit it. So everybody's a seeker, but someone is more like living to the reality of that being a seeker versus somebody is like, I am just going to seek that in so many other things. And we can go in that repeated loops of trying to do the same thing over and over and over again, but expecting something different. So somebody wants to find happiness in a certain way, they realize I'm not getting that, so let me do something different. But I'll still keep searching this way. So eventually one will come to a point where one will question. The more this world is designed in such a way that it will help, or it should make us question, what am I here for? So this is the beginning of the human life according to Vedanta. It's amazing, right? So I don't know, I sometimes question, did I even come to the beginning? Right? Because I've never questioned like that, Atato Brahma Jigyasa, did I actually come to a point to seek? So Srimad Bhagavatam is beginning at that point too, but it is leading us to something much more deep and refined and rich culture and understanding of life that we have been so far avoiding. So this perception of life otherwise is pretty much based on our conditioning and our emotional things that we go through. It's almost like wearing glasses of certain color. So everybody imagine here, there's an object here, say Krishna. Krishna is our ultimate object too. And the curtains open, we're all given different color lenses on our glasses, or different colors of glasses. So how many of us will agree with each other? What is Krishna's color? Somebody will say, well, somebody with a clear glasses will say it's white. Somebody will say, no, it's blue. Somebody will say, no, it's pink. So it's all through the lenses of conditioning we see the world, right? We see the world through our own conditioning. And the other person may see through his own conditioning. So this is called the night of our existence, which covers, convolutes our own idea of what the truth is. And what happens? Conflict, discomfort. We will never come to an agreement with anything. So this world can be a place of disharmony, too much disharmony. It's just like, if you have a nice music piece somebody's composed, everybody's composed. You'll play at this instant, this will come at this instant, the pianos will come here, the flute will come here. But here we are in this world, we have all the instruments, and we want to do whatever we want to do. Right? Imagine the person who's creating the art is thinking, what can I do? It's like, no, I want to sound better. I want to look better, so let me play mine loud. And what results is more chaos. So there's so much disharmony because we don't know the purpose, how we're supposed to. So this is all our night of existence, is like, we can't see the truth. So does that mean we can never see? No. That's where we have to find that one. Seeking the one is for that purpose. What is one switch? What Prabhupada says, there's one switch which can turn the light on and we can see everything. What is that one switch? What is that one light? That is Krishna. That is absolute truth. Just like, I see in the window, when you go out in the morning before the sunrise and it's dark, you cannot really see everything properly. You can say, oh, there must be a mountain there, we don't know, there must be a house there, oh, this house must be this color. We can create so many imaginations out of it. But when the sun rises, you exactly know what is all. Everything is clear to you, including we ourselves are clear. Oh, this is how I look. I didn't know. And we can also see that mountain looks like this. There's a house there. There are people living there. There are animals out there. So when we don't find that one, then we actually create so much duality, all creations of our mind. The duality is all coming out of our mind. So this material nature is by, everything in this material world is relative. So this duality, which we see, is just very relative to what our experiences are, what we see, how we perceive things. So in that situation, we can never find the truth. And almost everybody in this world end up concluding it, even though they don't find it. Yeah, I know it. You don't know. You are the cause of my suffering, right? So this is all the theme of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam is like, hey, that's not how it is. Because you don't even know who you are, so how can you say that is the cause of suffering, right? So there's, and it's, relative is like, today, I was going to catch a plane to go to the best show I planned for last 6 months. This great artist is coming, so I can't miss it. I bought tickets. Must be the best show. He's my, he's my, whatever he did, best performer, that I would adore him, worship him, and I miss my flight. That's the most terrible feeling, right? So it's such a bad thing which happened. And the next thing you heard, 2 hours later, actually that plane crashed. Wow, that's the best thing that happened to me. So what was 1 hour before the worst thing changed to the best thing. Why? Because the circumstances have changed. So the reality will keep on changing. So in that perception of that, when we say, this thing is the cause of my suffering, this person is the cause of my suffering, this situation, then actually we haven't seen the reality in a proper way. We've already concluded it. So, the great teachings of the Vedas, especially the Bhagavad Gita, it teaches, they show us one thing you have to keep always in your hand. It's a sign called stop. So when our emotions and conditioning drives us, we just hold that sign towards us, stop concluding. Don't disregard those emotions, because they are real, because we are feeling them, right? Whatever, anger, these emotions, sadness, or other emotions, joy, but don't make that as your ultimate thing. So Krishna says, you have to learn to tolerate them. Matra sparshas tu kaunteya, sitoshna, sukha dukkada, agamapayino nityas, tam titikshas bharata. Why you tolerate? Because you know that's going to change. It's just a matter of time, because you just stop, hold. You can hold a hold sign rather than a stop sign, maybe. Hold and just see, okay? At this point, this is what it is saying. And this happens when you're reading Bhagavad Gita too, right? You're on chapter 2. Oh, this is how I understand Krishna. Wait a second, we'll go to chapter 4. That whole understanding doesn't make sense. So things change, right? Our understanding changes too, with the truth as it reveals. So we should always stop ourselves from this biggest fall of, concluding things. Then we cannot really change anything, including change ourselves or find ourselves. So first thing is we find, and that such a person, Krishna says, such a person is eligible for liberation because he's a sober person. Yamhina vyatenti yete purusham purushashabha sama dukkha sukham dhiram somratatvaya kalpate. So it says such a person because he's able to hold off his emotions and conditioning and see the reality sometimes different from how it's perceived. So such a person is a little bit more sober. And such a person is actually the true seeker. So we're all meant for that. But it's very hard to be. It's very easy to say, right? When things happen, we almost get carried away in the dust storm of tornado, just like we lose ourselves. So in these situations, it's really helpful to have satsanga, or a sangha of having a scripture, having a sadhu. They're the beacons who light up, help us to see the reality. Oh, maybe this is not exactly how I should see it. And even if that looks exactly how it is, maybe there is some more inner. And that way we actually do not lose anything. We gain opportunity to find much more deeper riches in our life that we otherwise may miss out, right? We can go much more deeper, and the deeper, I think, like you told, right? What was that? The more deeper you go, you find jewels in the ocean, right? What was that? Something you shared something one time. So if you just are on the surface, you can find something useful. But when you go deeper, you find something more richer in life. Like, even the milk, when you cook something, you can get something, but the more it boils down, becomes ghee. Also, it's much more richer taste. It can be used unbelievably in various ways. So same thing. So the reality is to find that one. And through that, we understand reality much more deeper and ourselves and everything surrounding us. So Bhagavad Gita says, what is night for a self-realized soul is a day for someone who's just looking for external pursuits of things materialistically. But what is actually a day for self-realized is actually night for them because they don't want to see it. They're just busy sleeping. So there's always this night of conditioning which covers our intelligence. There's a night of emotions which can drive us to conclude in a certain way, act in a certain way. But if we are to follow these great personalities and take lessons, teachings, Krishna's Bhagavad Gita, and Bhagavad Gita understood by these self-realized beings, who have applied themselves, then we also start to see the reality. It's not everything what I see through my external inputs. So there is much more deeper meaning. And then we can also find through that something we are given access to, which is more than what we've actually acquired. Just like Arjuna, when in the Bhagavad Gita, I'm sure everybody had Bhagavad Gita, right? So when Arjuna approached Krishna, he said, I don't know what to do. Tell me what to do right now. And what does Krishna say? Wait a second, you're not this body. He says, wait, you tell me what I should do. Yes, I'm telling you. But then through that he reveals so many things that to Arjuna and to Arjuna through us, that, oh, there's a lot more to that question. What to do. What to do is not just do something, but to understand yourself so that you do what is necessary, the real duty. So Krishna gives levels of duties. And according to where one is, one can see, oh, that makes sense. But sometimes we can get hung over there and say, this is it, this is the duty. And then only to realize that after some time, when our consciousness goes up, no, there's actually higher duty, your higher duty, which culminates in the highest duty is to surrender to Krishna. Right? So there are so many duties, but the highest duty is to surrender to Krishna in love. So even just through that surrender of Arjuna initially, through his suffering, because he was just patient to hear, he got a lot more richer things. So even through our life like that, we can realize Krishna is giving so many things. And we can understand some deeper principles of life, including what is our purpose. What is our... Ultimately, we want to understand that one, because we identify that one always. That's our inner identification, is always with Krishna. So who is that? Is that God impersonal? Is that God personal? There's so many things, truth to that. So Srila Prabhupada writes one beautiful sentence in one of his earlier writings. He said, the process for the infinite to reveal to infinitesimal is devotion. So Krishna is infinite, right? You can't understand Krishna or God, we say, we can't understand through our mind. Just like, you go into a nice art gallery. I can go, somebody created a masterpiece, but I can think whatever it is, right? It must be some nice, beautiful house. So somebody may say, no, actually that means so and so. So how would we come to conclusion? Any ideas? If you had a nice art gallery here, if you just walked in just like me, and I had an idea, you had an idea, and somebody is very good at art, he will come and say, actually you guys are wrong. This is what it is, because I have masters in art. So how would you conclude? Most people say, hey, he has masters, let's follow him, right? But the question is, how would you conclude? What is the art? As the artist, right? And then we understand, oh, that detail that the artist put is because I understand the whole idea, what artist is doing. So similarly, infinite cannot be approached by any effort. We can do many austerities, as Tashta Prabhu said. We can also sit around that ring of fire and perform meditation for 1,000 years. We can get some idea, because we all have intelligence to come to some conclusion. But we will never find what actually it is, the truth is. As disappointing that looks. But it's very simple too. When the infinite is approached through devotion, it reveals itself. Even though we are infinitesimal. Infinitesimal is very small, right? Very tiny. By its own potential, it will never, ever can understand the infinite. But yet, when through this devotion it's approached, the same infinite can reveal everything as much as it needs to. It's amazing if you think about that. I myself will never have the ability to understand everything. But if I love and serve Krishna, because He's the infinite, I can understand a lot more things than I can ever understand, including myself, including others. Then our relationship, then our work, engagement in this world becomes very meaningful. Right? We can say, I know you, because he's also situated in the heart of, because why it can become meaningful? Because we no longer see it as an object of our own selfish enjoyment. Because we can see that one, and we can see it's an object of service. And through that service attitude, we can understand Krishna better, and through Krishna we can even understand others. Because we can understand what they are looking for is actually same as what I'm looking for. So this is the invitation Krishna is giving here in this light of Bhagavad. It's a pretty, he's relating, because Krishna ultimately has, I'll end with this, two features. One is his, what is called Aishwarya, means he's opulent, means God as a controller. He has the power to control everything, not in a bad way, it's a good way. He controls everything, and he's the ultimate powerhouse of that. Out of love, he can control too. And he's ultimately also sweet. Sweetness, madhurya. And that actually gets us a lot more closer to Krishna. Because he wants to exchange love just like us. So this is the invitation Krishna gives. So at that point we understand God is not impersonal. Like one time I had experience this is a very mundane experience, but I was just driving car to park every day like I do. And sometimes they used to give this early bird discount, right? Have you heard about that? So you get before 8 o'clock, you pay $4 less. So everybody wants to pay less, right? Why would you pay more? So try to do that every day. One time I was late 4 minutes. I said, but there was an attendant there. So he looked at me, felt pity, said, you know what, I'll give you the rate. I said, this is it. God can never be impersonal, because there's no meaning to mercy when there is no person, right? If it's impersonal, it's just like, it comes and goes, however it has to function. But mercy means somebody has to exchange a feeling based on our effort. So God is always a person, right? Though one may approach him in an impersonal way and he will reciprocate. And as a parent, I understand this much better now, right? When you're a parent, you make a rule, but you also break a rule. Because when you say, okay, you did this, okay, I'll be more merciful. So even Krishna is like that. He gives the sweetness, his merciful quality. He's able to make us relate with him just like how we relate with each other. So this verse is talking about that is, he's just like us. And this month is about celebrating of his sweetness. Because we glorify his greatness. Krishna is so great. Krishna has created the whole universe. Krishna is the maintainer of everything. Krishna takes care of everything. But in this month, Krishna and Mother Yashoda's pastime is all about celebrating his sweetness. And it talks about her greatness because she was able to relate with Krishna in the sweetest way. So this is what Bhagavad will bring us to. By just approaching and through the process of purification, which comes to the chanting of the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we come to this aspect of sweetness, and then whatever we did, whatever we had to undergo in life to get to that point is a very tiny austerity. When we get there, we realize that I don't deserve this. I could have never gotten this by myself, but this was the grace that Krishna gave me, the mercy. Because he saw something that I'm struggling with, and he wants me to bring to the highest. So one becomes overwhelmed with joy, because by one's own ability, we can never even come to a fraction of that joy. So this is the invitation that light of Bhagavad and Srimad Bhagavatam brings us to understand our purpose and be on that seeker and not conclude anything and try to find more richness and depth in our own seeking. And for such a person, this book of Light of Bhagavad opens up so many portals that we have never thought of. So I'll end there. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Gaur Premanandi, Hare Krishna.